everybody, my name is Mars, but you can call me May or MG if you would like, and welcome to my Orilium Readathon vlog for August 2023, the autumn equinox as it's called in the readathon. First, let me just address the elephant in the room. I did in fact rotate my desk, so it used to be facing this way, but I missed having my books behind me in videos. I thought the plain blank wall was very boring, so now it's facing this way, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. I have my filming setup on an angle because I have this giant window here and it was just letting in too much light. So I don't know what I'm going to do. I gotta figure something out. But for now, this is what we're working with. We got some books in the background again, so I'm a little bit happier than I was with the last filming setup. Anyway, on to the actual readathon. So if you missed my TBR video, I will link that down below for you to watch before you watch this. You can pause it, go there, and come back, and it will explain all of the books that I'll be reading for the different classes, because which calling I will be doing, and it also has time blocking, sort of. So Allison from the channel Allison on a Book Break has been doing this since last iteration of the readathon in April, where she makes like a whole schedule for when she's allowed to read her books, like on which days when she's allowed to read them in the morning, afternoon, or evening, and for like a certain amount of time. I didn't go that in depth with this. I had 4 classes to fill, so I assigned them each a day: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday I can read any of them, but only like one per week. So say I pick this Friday the Wednesday class, I can only read the books for that class this week on that Friday. I hope that makes sense. I think I explained it a little bit better in my TBR video. But today is Tuesday, and Tuesday is for elemental studies, and I only have to read one book for elemental studies, and it is Walk on Earth a Stranger by Ray Carson, so that's what I will be starting today. However, it's going to be a little bit weird because I'm reading it on Scribd, and normally I read Scribd books on my phone, but I have several books that I want to read through Scribd this month, and this week, really. One of which is Restless Slumber by KJ Sutton, that I will be starting on Thursday, and I really want to read that on my phone, and I don't like having multiple books on Scribd going at the same time on my phone, because I like when I open up the app and the book is already open there for me. And Restless Slumber is one that I'm going to be reading in bed more often than not, so whenever the first book in the series, I tended to read it for an hour or so before I went to sleep, so I just read in bed. So I'm going to be reading that on my phone. So instead, I'm going to be reading Walk on Earth a Stranger on my laptop, which I have read from Scribd on my laptop before. Last summer, I was reading the Caraval trilogy, and for some reason, like halfway through book 2, my app stopped working, so I picked it back up on my computer, and it was fine. It was a little bit weird, but it was no big deal. So I'll be reading on my laptop for a little bit. And I have no idea anything about this book. I know it's historical, magical, fantasy. The main character can sense gold in the earth, and it takes place during the gold rush in American history, so lucky her, I guess. This came out in, I believe, 2014, 2015, so I was in high school at the time, and I never read it, though I did know about it when it came out, and it sounded interesting, so I'm glad to finally be getting to it. So, without any further ado, I'm gonna start reading, and I will update you when I get further into this book. Okay, I'm back. It's cloudy out now, so it's a little bit less obscenely bright coming from this window. I'm definitely gonna get a thicker curtain soon. Anyway, it's been a couple hours. It's now almost 11 o'clock, and I've read a few chapters of Walk on Earth a Stranger, and I'm enjoying it. It's interesting. I am 9% in, according to Scribd. I'm losing my words. I feel like every now and then I just can't speak. Anyway, it's good. It's a little bit hard to get into, but I think that's just me. I don't read a ton of historical fantasy. It's a genre that I'm interested in. It's just that it's so vast that it could literally take place at any time, because historical just means in the past. And so I don't think I've ever read anything that was set during this time period except for stuff in a history textbook for class. So it's a little bit jarring trying to get myself into the mood for this time period, but I am enjoying it. I like the voice of the main character. There was like a list of characters at the beginning of the book, and there are so many. So I'm very glad that list is there because anytime there's more than like 12 characters, I cannot keep them straight. So that's very nice that that was included. But yeah, I'm liking it so far, and I'm excited to see where it goes. Alright, friends, it is still a first. It is about 8:30 p.m., and I'm pretty sure I'm done reading for today. I haven't been reading like straight through, that's beyond me, but I've been like coming back to the book, reading a couple chapters in between other tasks throughout the day, and I'm now 162 pages in out of 419, so according to Scribd, that's 39%. So I have made a solid dent into this book, and I'm a little bit upset that I can't pick this back up tomorrow because I'm actually really enjoying it. There was one thing that when I first was about to like pick up the book, I was thinking to myself, I wonder if they're going to talk about periods in this because the main character is a teenage girl, and this follows her moving from, I think, Georgia? That sounds correct. I think she starts off in Georgia, going to California in the 1800s. It's the gold rush. It's like, what, 1849, I think, is like the big year for the gold rush. But I was like, that's gonna take months. Obviously, she's going to get her period. I wonder if that's something that we're actually gonna talk about in this book, or if it's just going to be swept under the rug. And we do talk about it. She actually gets her first period, which is a little bit weird to me because she's 16, I think, and I don't know. I feel like most people are younger when they get their periods. And, like, obviously, I'm not saying no one's 16 when they get their first period, but, like, when she's thinking herself about it, her mom had warned her that she would get her period around 16 or 17. And I'm like, is that just how it runs in their family? Because that just seems late to me. I don't know. Completely off topic. But yeah, I'm enjoying this so far. She's made her way from. So, like, the whole premise. I realize I haven't like talked about this book much at all, aside from what little I knew about it. So this girl, Leah, she lives in Georgia with her mom and dad, and she can sense gold in the ground. And one day she comes home from school to find that both of her parents have been killed, and their store of gold that she's found for them has been stolen from them. And so she decides to head west to follow her friend Jefferson. I was like, it's not Jackson. I don't know why I was thinking Jackson. His name is Jefferson. She calls him Jeff, which is kind of funny to me. It just feels like a weird name for this time. Not Jefferson, but like Jeff. And anyway, he left to escape his abusive father, and so she follows after him, not wanting to come under the like rule of her uncle who like takes over the homestead. And so she's going, but she's pretending to be a boy because otherwise she would be a teenage girl traveling all alone, and that's not something that you did back then. And where I'm at, she's made it to. I don't actually remember. They were on the Mississippi River. Forget what town they said they were in, but she was like traveling on a boat, and now she's back on her horse. Her horse's name is Peony, which I think is very cute. Peonies are one of my favorite flowers, fun fact. But yeah, I'm very excited to keep reading this, and sad that the next time I'll be able to pick this up is Friday, but I also might not pick it up Friday because there are other books that I will be picking up in the days to come that I might want to pick up more than this one. So I might not be able to read this again until next Tuesday. Wild. I'm gonna have to have this tab open on my computer. It's gonna be so tempting to want to keep reading this, but I will stick to the schedule that I've made for myself, and see you tomorrow, I guess, for the next class. I don't remember what it is, so I don't remember what books I'll be picking up tomorrow, but I will see you then. Hello, friends. It is just about 10 a.m. on the second day of the month, and as you can see, I just recently got out of the shower. I had a bit of a late start to the day, but you know, it's fine. Today is Wednesday, which means I get to read my astronomy books, and yes, there are two of them that I could choose between. So I have Please Don't Go Before I Get Better by Madison Kuhn. This is a poetry collection, and I also have this book that I've already taken the dust jacket off of. This is The Kings of Clonmel by John Flanagan. This is book 8 in the Ranger's Apprentice series. And if I was smart, I would pick the poetry collection and knock it out in one day and be done with that. I'm not smart. I'm going to be reading The Kings of Clonmel. I feel like I haven't done this every month, but I've done it most months, where the first book I finished each month was my Ranger's Apprentice for the month. How many times am I going to say the word month? But like, I don't know, this is just such a special series to me, and I feel really happy when it's the first thing that I read each month. And even though I've been reading other books so far this month, they haven't been finished. So if this is the first book I finish this month, I feel like that's the same thing as it being the first thing that I read this month. I don't know, I'm probably not making sense. But yeah, instead of reading the quick and easy book, I'm going to be reading this one instead today. And it's 400 pages? No, 300 something. 300 and... ooh, there's an epilogue. 358. So I could theoretically get this done today. I don't know if I will. I have other things to get done, as always. I just always have so much stuff to do. Why is there always stuff to do? Why can't I just sit and read the entire day? Anyway, yeah, I'm going to be reading this and maybe finishing it, maybe not. We'll see. But I'm very, very, very excited to break into this. Like I said, this is the 8th book in the Ranger's Apprentice series. I've been reading one book a month through the whole year so far. And I love this book and the book that follows because we get some insight on a character that we didn't know much about before. It kind of had a mysterious backstory, and now we delve into that. And yeah, I don't want to spoil anything because, like I said, 8th book in a series. So go back and watch my January wrap-up if you want to hear more about Ranger's Apprentice. Would it be my wrap-up or my TBR? Either one, where I talk about the first book in the series if you want to know more about it. But yeah, this is what I'm going to be picking up. Friends, I am here with a quick update to let you know that I have finished reading The Kings of Clonmel. I'm trying to block the light coming in from the window in my head. Yeah, I did end up reading the whole thing today, and I guess I could probably squeeze in the poetry collection. It is just about 8 p.m., but I kind of neglected quite a few things for my to-do list in order to read this whole thing today, so I'd probably get to those, and then I'll save the poetry collection for next Wednesday. But I'm so happy to have read this. This is one of my favorite books in the series, and it's just so good. And yeah, I feel like I don't have a ton to say because I don't want to spoil things, but just a lot of great stuff happens in this book. And now I get to move on with the readathon. So tomorrow, if I'm remembering correctly, I don't remember which class it is, but the books for that class are Howl's Moving Castle and Restless Slumber. I'm thinking I'm only going to start one of them because I don't want to have too many books going on at the same time, and it's probably going to be Restless Slumber because I'm a little bit more interested in that than Howl's Moving Castle. And don't get me wrong, I don't know why I'm still holding this. Don't get me wrong, I'm very interested in Howl's Moving Castle, but that's for the book club, the Nostalgia Train book club, and the live show's not going to be till like the end of the month, so I have time to read that. But Restless Slumber, the second book in the Fortuna Sworn series, I'm buddy reading with my friend Emily. We buddy read the first book in July, and both had a great time doing that, so we're reading the second book this month, and I just want to get into that, and then she can get into it. She's been waiting for me so that she could read this, and like at the same time as me. So I want to pick that one up. The prompt, however, is to pick it up before bed, like start the book before bed. So I don't know how early I can fudge that. I do usually read for about 20 to 30 minutes before bed, but assuming I get everything else done early in the day, I might take an early night and read for more than that before I go to sleep. So, oh, Chloe is trying to get in. The door's open, baby girl. You just gotta push it a little bit. Anyway, that's really all I had to say. So, because I'm probably not going to start a book until late tomorrow, I didn't think I was going to want to update you, which is why I was telling you my plans now, but I will see you at some point in the future. Hello, friends. It is the 4th now, and yesterday I did exactly what I had said I was going to do, which was start Fortuna Sworn before I went to bed. And I got 6 chapters in. It's a little bit further than I had expected to go, but I was very much enjoying it. And now I don't know what I'm gonna do today. So Fridays are my like catch-up days, kind of, where I can pick any one class to continue reading in, but I can only do that class. So say I pick astronomy, I can only read my astronomy books that day. And I'm torn between two. So I want to continue Fortuna Sworn, but I also want to continue Walk on Earth Stranger. So I think I'm going to flip a coin, and by that I mean I'm going to ask Google to flip a coin for me. I do feel a little bit bad if I continue on with Fortuna Sworn because I'm buddy reading it with my friend and she hasn't started it yet. She's in the middle of reading like a really good fanfic that she says she wants to finish before she starts Fortuna Sworn, but also she reads a lot faster than me, so she's gonna catch up in no time. I don't feel that bad getting ahead of her. So we're gonna flip a coin on Google, and if it's heads, I will read more of Walk on Earth a Stranger today, and if it's tails, I will read more of Fortuna Sworn. So let's cut to that. Okay, I don't know what's going on in the background of this clip. My boyfriend's doing something out in the other room, but I've typed in flip a coin, and we're gonna press enter, and it is tails, which I said tails was Fortuna Sworn, right? I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna double check the footage just to be safe. Okay, yes. Tails is indeed Fortuna Sworn / Restless Slumber. I should specify, I'm gonna be using those two interchangeably. Fortuna Sworn is the name of book 1, but it's also the name of the series, and the actual book that I'm reading is Restless Slumber, which is book 2. So if you hear me say Fortuna Sworn, I mean Restless Slumber. And that's what I will be reading throughout today. So I just realized you can see my gigantic pile of plushies in the background. I didn't notice that before, but yep. Anyway, I'll be reading Restless Slumber throughout the day, and I will maybe update you guys tonight. This is the last day this week that I'll be reading for this vlog because weekends are for my other books. I've decided that if I finish a class, I'm not going to then open it up for other class books. I'm going to use it the same way I use my weekends, which is for books not for this readathon, because I have like 7 that I have to read this month, and 2 days a week is not going to cut it. So yeah, I will get back to you guys later today, assuming that I actually do end up reading more of this book. I might just end up not doing that, in which case this whole flip a coin thing was moot, but we'll see. I'll see you later. Good morning, friends. It is just past 8 a.m. on Monday the 7th, which means it's time to get back to my classes at Orilium. So, like I said, today's Monday, which means it's time for Spells and Incantations, and my book for Spells and Incantations, there's only one, and it is Blackguard, a manga by Ryo Hanada, and I actually follow this mangaka on Instagram because I previously read their work Devil's Line and really enjoyed it. So I followed them on Instagram to see what was up with their other works. They're currently working on the sequel to Devil's Line, which is very fun. But anyway, Blackguard is its own separate thing. It's a finished series. It's only 5 volumes, so I am going to be reading all of them, and I should have no problem reading them today. So I'm going to do that and just update you at the end because that's pretty short, and otherwise I'll just be updating you after like 5 chapters. But that is my plan. I am streaming this morning with Kelly and Nikki, and I don't know if I will be reading during that time or doing other things. I might just be vibing because it is so early in the morning, but I will let you know later on today how my day ends up going with regards to reading. Hello friends, I apologize for the weird lighting, but it is almost exactly 5 p.m. and the light is coming directly through my office window, and every time a cloud goes in front of the sun, it like shifts the lighting. I don't know, it's weird. We're gonna ignore it. I have just finished Blackguard. Oh, boy, did I almost cry. I kept myself from crying, but like, it was so hard. This was even better than Devil's Line, which I did really, really enjoy. But this one I just liked a smidge more, and I will literally just read anything that Rio Hanada puts out. Rio Hanada or Hanada Rio? I'm not sure, because the whole like Asian names having the surname first and the personal name afterwards, so I'm not sure which is like the way you say it in Japanese and which way is like more Americanized or westernized. Regardless, I'll read anything that they put out, which right now they're actually working on the sequel to Devil's Line. It's called Devil's Line 2, I think Trigger is the like subtitle of the sequel. I will definitely read that. I don't know if there are any volumes out, because I think they just started releasing chapters about a year ago. I don't know. This is besides the point. Blackguard. Ooh, loved it. So good. I just really love the like premise of it. So the setup is that Sky Minami is a like guard where they hunt these things called shoujo, which are named after this mythological creature from Japanese lore that's basically an ape with a really long tail. But the setup is it takes place in the future, like a couple decades in the future, and there was a like trip back from space exploration that had this disease that they carried with it, and the disease caused mutations to turn these people into the shoujo, and the shoujo eat people. So it's like not something that they want to keep happening. So Minami, like his whole purpose in life is just fighting the shoujo because he doesn't really have a will to live. He's horribly depressed, and so he kind of just throws himself into that, and he wants to die, but he doesn't want to kill himself. This whole thing is so good. It's so good. I can't like go into more detail without spoiling, but it's very short, only 5 volumes. Like I said, I read it in one day, and I was taking a lot of breaks in between chapters. So like I started it this morning about halfway through the live stream. So maybe we'll say like 10 a.m. and now it's 5 p.m. So like easily get this done in a couple hours. And I highly recommend if you are a fan of dark sci-fi. It's labeled as dark fantasy, but like it definitely feels more sci-fi to me. If you're a fan of that, if you like manga, obviously I would check it out. But yeah, that leaves Mondays now finished. I finished that course, which I don't have my document up, so I don't remember what course it was, but that one's done. Tomorrow, Tuesday, I get to read more of Walk on Earth a Stranger, and I'm so excited for that. I got to just before 50%, I believe. I was like not quite halfway, but maybe I'll finish it tomorrow. We'll see. I am thinking there's a good chance. I don't know. I really don't know. We'll see what tomorrow brings. I'm just like on a buzz from reading such a good series, good book, whatever you want to call it. I am giving it a 9 out of 10 instead of a 10 out of 10. There's like little nitpicky details that are keeping me from giving it a perfect score, but I still loved the series so much. I don't know what's going on outside. I'm going to end this clip here. I will see you guys tomorrow. Hello friends, it is the 8th, it is just past noon, and I have an update for you guys. So I have just finished reading chapter 25 of Walk on Earth a Stranger. We've learned why that's the name of the book. It's from a, not Bible verse, a hymn, and I think that's really cool. I didn't know that. I knew the hymn that they ended up singing in this because there's like a funeral and one of the people on their wagon train is a preacher. This is the book that's taking place in the 1840s during the gold rush. The main character can like sense gold around her. That I probably should have led with that because it's been a week since I've read it. Anyway, I did actually recognize the first verse of the hymn because they like had the lyrics in the book, but then I didn't recognize after that, so I didn't realize that's where the title came from until it got to that point. A lot of stuff has just happened. I'm almost 3/4 of the way through the book according to script. I'm 72% in, and I'm still really, really enjoying it. It did take me a minute to get into it because it had been a week since I picked up this book, but after a chapter or two, I'm back in the swing of the story. So much stuff happened in this last, not even chapter, there's like a bunch of chapters that take place in the same day, but like there was a buffalo stampede, and then Native Americans came through the wagon train, and like there was some trading going on, and also some racism from some of the characters. There was, what else happened? One of the like children, a little boy, got lost, and so Lee, the main character, her name is Leah, but she goes by Lee because she's dressed as a man, like she's masquerading as a man to travel alone because she's escaping her uncle. She like goes off to find him, and there were some character deaths, and then there was an amputation, and we also had confirmed queer representation, which is really cool. So there's 3 characters that they're referred to as like the college men, and they all have names. I think it's Tom is one of them, Henry, something else that I can't remember, but the 3 of them, they're like all friends, and like the 3 of them make this one caravan as part of the wagon train, and Lee has befriended them and is helping one of them perform this amputation because the one was training to be a doctor. And while they're like talking, he's like, "Oh, so you're like, I expect that you're like one of us, like based on what we've like seen of you." And she's like, "One of you?" And he's like, "A confirmed bachelor." And then she's like, "Oh," and she like isn't because she's not a man, but like now she's like, after that conversation, she's like, do they think I'm a gay man, or do they understand that I'm not actually a man and they figured out that I'm really a girl? Because like there was some stuff that went on that hinted towards that. Whole lot of stuff, but we've confirmed gay characters, which is really cool. But yeah, they are, I don't know where they're at in terms of the trail. They passed a river. I don't remember the name of it, but they've still got quite a ways to go before they hit California. I mean, I still have 28% of the book left, so obviously they're not going to get to California just yet, but it's really good, and I look forward to reading the rest of it. Okay, friends, I'm back. It's been a couple of hours. It's a little bit after 2 p.m. now, and I have finished Walk on Earth a Stranger. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. It was good, but not blow my mind fantastic. It had some issues with the pacing. The first and second acts were just so chock full of action, but then the entire middle, except for like the midpoint, kind of just was a little bit bogged down, and I liked the character moments and like the relationships and everything that were being built during those moments, but I wish we had been more evenly spread between like action plot moments and slower character moments. It would have just made it flow a little bit more smoothly, but I still really enjoyed this, and I do want to continue on with the series. I believe it's a trilogy, so I got a couple more books to read eventually at some point. I'm in the middle of so many series, but it's fine. It just gives me more to look forward to reading. Yeah, tomorrow is Wednesday, and seeing as I've already finished reading The Kings of Clonmel last week, I have 1 book left to read for tomorrow. Again, I don't have my document up, so I don't remember what class it's for, but I have Please Don't Go Before I Get Better by Madison Kuhn. This is a poetry collection, so I will have no problem knocking that out of the park, and I'm very excited. I have kind of fallen out with poetry recently. I haven't really been reading any or writing any, so I am looking forward to getting back to it. Alright, this is a weird angle. I only have a couple of minutes to do this update. It is almost 10 a.m. on the 9th, and I have in fact read Please Don't Go Before I Get Better. I actually had to listen to this as an audiobook because I ran out of the good stuff on Scribd. I've been reading too many books on there, and so they cut me back until my subscription renews. But instead of the ebook, they did allow me to listen to the audiobook. This lighting is awful. Sorry. Which was fine. I think it's a little bit easier for me to listen to poetry as audio than it is to listen to fiction. So that was alright. It was about an hour long, so I did it this morning while I was just vibing in bed, and I liked it. It was fine. I think I like her other collection, the one that I own physically, just a little bit more, but if I have this right, the one that I just listened to for this readathon was her second ever collection, and then this one came after, so it makes sense that she's improved. But yeah, I liked it. It was fine. It was a good time. So that is that. I'm just going through these books left and right. I think the only ones I have left now are Fortuna Sworn is the first book. The second one is Restless Slumber, that's what it's called. And Howl's Moving Castle? Is that right? Do I only have those two left? And of course, they're both Thursday books, but I also get Friday. So I'm going to check in with my friend to see if she has picked up Restless Slumber yet. And if she hasn't, I guess that means tomorrow I will be starting Howl's Moving Castle, which is the one that I'm very nervous about because it is one where every reading session I have to be in a different location, so I want to get good chunks done at a time, but we'll see how that goes. For now, this is where I'm signing off. I will see you tomorrow. Hello friends, I have a quick update for you this morning. It is about 10 a.m. on Thursday the 10th, which means we've come back around to Howl's Moving Castle and Restless Slumber. Now, my friend has not yet caught up with me on Restless Slumber, so I'm 13 chapters in, which is almost halfway, and so I'm maybe I should stop and let my friend, who I'm supposed to be buddy reading this, catch up. So she said that she's gonna start it either today or tomorrow, which means I get to focus on Howl's Moving Castle. First of all, let me just take a moment to let you hear this really cool sound. Okay, it sounded better when I did it before, but I don't know. It's just a really, it's a tight flop, but still floppy, if that makes sense. I don't know. These are not technical terms. I just really like this edition that I have. It's very nicely sized and everything. Anyway, the prompt for this is to pick it up in a different location each time you read it. So I'm gonna try and do 2 reading sessions with this book today. The first one right here in my desk chair, and this is thicker than I thought. It's over 400 pages. I have limited seating in my apartment, but we will make this work. So I'm going to do one here today in this morning session, and then I'll probably read before bed and have that not an option for the future. Oh boy, not being able to go back to a place after you've already used it is going to be hard, especially because I'm using the 2 most common places for me to sit right off the bat, but it's fine. We're gonna see if I can just get a good portion into this. Yeah, so I am if I put the book down and come back, it's fine for certain circumstances. So if I have to go to the bathroom, I can put it down, go to the bathroom, come back, and it still counts as the same writing session. But if I'm going to have food or something, I can't be gone for more than 4 or 5 minutes at a time. Even that seems a little long. Maybe 3 minutes is my cap. I can get up, grab a snack, come back, that sort of thing, and not have to change locations. We'll see how this goes for me. I might have to get creative with where I read, but yeah, I'm not starting this just yet. I have a couple of things I want to check off my to-do list first, but I will be getting to this pretty shortly, so I will see you then. Okay, I have been reading for way longer than I meant to. This little reading session has been about 2.5 hours, but I'm now just over halfway into Howl's Moving Castle, and I'm absolutely loving it. It's so good. I was like reading along and I'm like, yeah, this isn't as different as I thought because, everyone always says, oh, the book and the movie are so different. But for the longest time, the first 9 chapters, I'm like, there's only a few differences that I can tell, and the whole main plot line still feels the same. But this last chapter that I just read was completely different from anything in the movie. So spoilers if you haven't read this but you want to, I'm gonna talk about the difference. So there's, how that he has the dial on the door. Hal has this dial that when you turn it, it goes to a different place depending on which color it's pointing to. Well, in this book, the black section of the dial takes him to the real world, or what I assume is the real world. I'm pretty sure it's Wales because he ends up wearing a jacket that says Welsh Rugby on it. And I'm like, okay. And we meet his sister and his niece and his nephew, and we get references to real world poets like John Donne, and there's still magic though. Hal ends up talking to this lady about spells and stuff, and I'm like, what is going on? So I guess we're at the part where the story really diverges, but I cannot wait to keep reading. I'm gonna stop this session here for now though, because I have plenty of other things that I should have been doing all day. I apologize if you can hear stuff in the background, by the way. It's raining pretty hard, but yeah, as much as I want to keep reading, I will do some other things for a little while and then come back to this tonight and maybe finish this tonight. That'd be so good if I could do that, because then I wouldn't have to worry about finding other places to read in the apartment. Yeah, so that's my plan for the rest of the day. I will see you at some point in the future. So I ended up finishing Howl's Moving Castle last night at 10:30. It took an extra, I think, 2 hours. So all in all, 4.5 hours of reading to get through this book. I already put it back on my shelf. It was so good. It really veered at the halfway mark. I would venture to say that the differences between the book and movie of Howl's Moving Castle outweigh the differences between the manga and anime of Full Metal Alchemist, being the first original anime, which is saying something because they veer quite a bit. But I did finish. I'm giving this book a 9 out of 10. There's just like something keeping me from giving it that full 10 out of 10. I think it's the nostalgia of the movie and the fact that, at least to me, the movie plot makes a little bit more sense than the book plot. There's just so much going on. I do really, really, really love this book though. It was fantastic and it made me so happy. There's this line towards the end of it where Howl and Sophie are like looking at each other and they're paying no attention to the rest of the people around them because they can only focus on the fact that, like, oh my god, we're in love. And Howl just goes, I think we ought to live happily ever after. And like, oh, that line is just so cute. I love it so much. I'm definitely gonna be watching the movie again pretty soon, if I can. So I'm just very happy right now. Anyway, today is Friday, which means I can read from any class, but the only class that I have left is my Thursday one. Again, I don't remember which class that is. I'm stupid, okay? It's fine. Moving on. The only book that I have left to read for this readathon is Restless Slumber, so I'm going to check in with my friend and see if she's actually started it or not. But if I don't end up reading it today, it's not the end of the world. I've got plenty of other books to read for other things, and I could always just pick up Restless Slumber next week. I don't think I'll have an issue with forgetting the things that have happened. If it's the same as what happened with what's that called? Walk on Earth a Stranger, it'll just take me a chapter or two to reorient myself with the book, but that's not really a big deal. I will see you next time I read. Hello, friends. It has been a hot minute since I updated you. So, yeah, the only book I have left to read for this readathon is Restless Slumber. And today, being the 17th, means that I started it 2 weeks ago and haven't picked it up since. Because my friend just keeps having so much stuff like happen to her that she has to keep postponing when it started. She told me yesterday that she had finally planned on starting it. I don't know if she did, but she did give me permission to continue on because in the past 2 weeks that I've been waiting for her to start it, I have read almost every single book that I wanted to read this month besides this one. And like I said, it's only the 17th, so like I have plenty of time, and I was just reading so much other stuff. But I texted her last night and I'm like, please, let me continue on with this book. Otherwise, I think I'll forget what I've already read. And she's like, yes, please, definitely keep reading it, and I will catch up when I can. So, the plan is to finish it in the next 2 days because I only have today and tomorrow to read it because it's Thursday, Friday. My schedule time blocking thing, I've explained this all to you before. Even though it's been 2 weeks for me, it's been like 5 seconds for you because this is all part of the same video. The magic of editing. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna get back to Restless Slumber and hopefully finish it within the next 2 days because otherwise I have to wait again till next Thursday to pick it back up, and I don't want to do that. I just want to read it because I was really enjoying it, and yeah, I'm going to hopefully get a lot done today. I think I'm about 200 pages in and it's like 500 pages. I genuinely don't remember, but I have a lot of stuff to do today, and hopefully it's not like so much that I won't be able to read. I'm hoping I could squeeze in a fair amount of time for this book, and I will get back to you once I've done more reading. Hello, friends. You're getting an update from bed because that's where I've been reading. It is about 7 p.m. and I am currently on. Ooh, I was blocking the light and I didn't realize it. It's very bright, actually. Anyway, I'm on page 338 out of 508, so I have 170 pages left. I think I did that math correctly. Like I said, it's about 7 o'clock, so I'm gonna go have some dinner. And afterwards, I want to read more, but I think I'm gonna write. I got a little bit of writing in me tonight, I think, and then I might read another chapter or two, like right before I go to sleep. I think that's the move. I shouldn't have any problem finishing this book tomorrow, but if that changes, then you'll know because I'll update you. But that is how things have been going. This book is fine. I feel like the relationship between the main character and her like main love interest is just
a little too up and down. Like, they have had sexual encounters. They have not had sex, but they've, like, been doing some stuff every now and then. But then they also, like, don't really know each other. The first book apparently only takes place over the course of 3 weeks. So, like, a whole lot happens. But then in this one, they were, like, they almost had sex, but then something interrupted them. And in the next scene where they were almost intimate, Fortuna, the main character, was like, I don't even know you, and Collis, the love interest, is like, well, let me take you on a date, we can actually get to know each other. And then, like, 3 chapters later, they were, like, making out, and he, like, made a joke, like, don't think this is getting you out of our date, like, we're still gonna do that, as if she didn't want to get to know him when she was the one who said she didn't know him enough. And, like, all this stuff happens. It's just a little bit unrealistic to me, all the back and forth. I understand a little bit because of the circumstances that led to them being into each other, and, like, there's clearly interest, but there's also stuff that makes them not want to be together. Well, at least on Fortuna's side. I'm pretty sure Colith would, like, do anything for her, but anyway, it's just a little bit too back and forth for me. Other than that, I like all the stuff that we're getting from the world. We've been introduced to some new characters in these past few chapters, one of which, Savannah, is a witch. I really like her, but I'm gonna go make my dinner now, and excuse me, I got a hiccup there, and probably read more later tonight, and I will talk to you tomorrow.
Hello friends, I have a quick update for you. Of course my AC is going to kick on as soon as I start filming. Anyway, I read a few more chapters last night, and then I read 1 chapter this morning while I was waiting for my boyfriend to get out of the shower so I could have a turn, and I now have just under 100 pages to read of Restless Slumber. I'm for sure gonna finish that today. That is, like, unless something, like, huge and unexpected happens, like, I'm finishing this book. My friend still has not started it because she just got a lot going on. She keeps getting tempted by fan fictions for other stuff, and she sent me a TikTok today. She's like, this is exactly my mood, and it said, when you keep reaching for a book on your TBR, but someone sent you the link to a new fanfic or something like that. She's like, this is exactly why I haven't read it yet. And I'm like, you know what? That's fair, but also I'm gonna keep reading it and you can just get to it whenever. So the whole buddy read portion of this hasn't really been a buddy read, but other than that, it's fine. Yeah, so I will probably not see you again until I finish this book. Okay, I feel like this lighting kind of really sucks, but I finished reading Restless Slumber. Oh boy, do I have thoughts. So, like, the last 50-60 pages, complete what the fuck happened. So much was going on, and, like, it was completely wild. There was this one chapter that it literally felt like 3 chapters in one. Like, this chapter had a whole Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. Like, so much happening, and then a character died, and then Fortuna had to go do queen stuff, and then she came back, and she, like, made a deal with a demon to try and bring this character back. So much going on that I have no idea where any of this came from. Whoa. This book, it still has the same quality of the first book where, like, it makes me want to keep reading. I feel like the writing style is very much something I like, but this book, story-wise, is just so up and down. Like, a book, you want it to be, like, up and down, but, like, gradually going up until you get to the climax, and it goes down a little. General story structure. This was, like, up and down, and so all over the place. Jeez. I have thoughts for stuff that might happen in the next book that I really hope won't happen. We'll see, I guess. I definitely need to know what happens in the next book. I think, so there's 4 books out now. The 5th book is coming out this fall, and I think there's gonna be 6 total. So, geez, okay. I am just in shock from all the stuff that happened. Okay, that was the last book for this readathon though. I had a lot of fun. I just really enjoy the vibes of the Magical Readathon. I think the whole like fantasy school aspect is so fun, and I'm gonna link someone down below for you to check out. Her name is Allison. Her channel is Allison on a Book Break. She's the one who inspired me to do this whole time blocking thing, only she goes way far beyond into doing this. She's added so many really cool elements, and I definitely think next year when I do this readathon, I want to make it a little bit harder on myself and implement some of these elements like she has, because it just looks like it just makes a really fun game out of it. Like the readathon itself is already very fun, and then I just really like game aspects to things. I'm rambling. So yeah, today's the 18th, by the way. I don't think I said that. So I have completed my calling. I have officially gotten another level in Moon Warden, which I think is the one that I did last year. So the way it works is you can do a different calling each year, or you can do the same one and like level up in it up to I think 4 levels. So I'm pretty sure I did the Moon Warden last year and would then be the second level of that. If not, whoops, I'm just doing a different one. Yeah, so I had, for elemental studies, I read Walk on Earth a Stranger, and I really enjoyed that one. I will be continuing on with the series. For astronomy, I read Please Don't Go Before I Get Better, which was fine. I enjoyed the poems, and also The Kings of Clonmel by John Flanagan, which of course I loved because John Flanagan is one of my favorite authors, and it was like the third or fourth time I've read that book. Then for restoration, I had 2 more books to read, one of which was Restless Slumber, which of course I just finished, and you now know my thoughts on that. Absolutely crazy. Wow. I also had to read Howl's Moving Castle, which I loved. And then for spells and incantations, I read Blackguard by Rio Hanada, and I really enjoyed that. I actually had a dream that had like the same vibes as that last night, and like I woke up this morning thinking about that series. Just a wild time. Kind of interesting. Yeah, so overall, I really enjoyed my picks for this month, this readathon, although technically they weren't completely my picks because I gave options to my Ko-fi members and then they chose between them. Anyway, I'm very happy with the books that I read for this. I think they were all, I was gonna say I think they were all very good, but they were all good. We'll give it that. They all hit the bar of being good books, and some of them went above and beyond that. Anyway, that is all for me today. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel for more content, and that way I will see you in the next one. Goodbye, everyone.